My name is Elle. I'm a healer. I'm a creative. I've been on a journey over the last, I'd say, 15 years. Wow. I don't even know where to start. I have been thinking about doing this, recording this video and starting this, showing up online for literally years. I had to go through so many, basically, death cycles of releasing old identities of myself to even get here. It's been a while, a lot of trauma growing up, deep initiations that I knew that my soul chose and I chose at a higher dimensional level for me to go through in order to experience such darkness, such darkness, and ultimately learn to transform and transmute that. I know even me 5 years ago listening to this would be like, what the actual fuck are you talking about? But I mean, I grew up in a severely dysfunctional family, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of emotional suppression and disconnection. Growing up, when I was a teenager, I was actually a word, which stands for sexually assaulted. Um, and that was it basically split and fractured my energetic system, which fractured me. I went into darkness, addiction, alcoholism. I basically drank from the age of 14 up until 5 years ago. Yeah, every weekend, if not more than that, every day. I know what it feels like to just be in so much pain mentally, physically, um, severe pain throughout my whole system. My legs, I would get really bad shin splints. I found it hard to walk. I would get pain in my hips. I went through so many bouts of burnout from even early on in my life. I remember a lot of stints in hospital. I would have almost like little heart attack, panic attacks, and I would have this pain in my what I now know is my solar plexus, but basically in my diaphragm. Yeah, from early on through teenage years when that assault basically happened to me, I held so much shame around it. In high school, I was then pretty badly bullied after it because I had a high school boyfriend who loved me really unconditionally. And that was probably the first time that I'd really experienced that. And I really loved him, but we were on a break and then this thing happened and then everyone at school found out. And I was so ostracized by my friends, by people around me that I thought really had my highest interests at heart. I think growing up, I was such a sensitive soul, and it sounds pretty bad, but honestly, growing up, I had so much magic as well. Like I grew up on an ostrich farm in the middle of nowhere in a place called Bunaloo, which is north of Echuca, which is on the border of Victoria and New South Wales in Australia. Uh, an ostrich farm. I think it was 100,000 acres, but then they had purchased the next property, which was another 100,000 acres. So it was like 200,000 acres or so, roughly. So you couldn't really see the neighbors. And I was just in nature for so much of my early life. I had brothers and I had male cousins, a lot of motorbike riding and boot scooting, which is, if you don't know, you grab the boot off the old car and hook it up to the car with just a rope and just hang on for dear life. And they would do a lot of spotlighting, which was kind of like hunting. And I would care for all the animals that were injured from that. I became an animal carer actually in my teen years. I had so many beautiful animals. I had a kangaroo that I raised up until I couldn't keep him any longer because he got so big. I had birds, I had insects, a frog, a green tree frog. I loved him. He was amazing. I remember the feeling of his feet. So I did have so much magic. So we were there, and then we were, I think before that actually, in Port Douglas in the north of Australia, so kind of tropical. I remember vivid memories of the Daintree rainforest, swimming in water, streams. I remember there being turtles and things like that, like just beautiful, wonderful memories of the Great Barrier Reef as well. The reef was beautiful. So my life has had so much magic as well, and I have been very intuitively, psychically open my whole life. So my upper chakras super open. I was never fully aware of all of this until later in life. when I went through such a deep healing journey, when I had my youngest, Andy, who is 5 now, 5, yes, I couldn't walk after I birthed her. I was just in so much severe pain and inflammation. I had to do something. So COVID hit. I received my attunement in Reiki, and wow, my body purged a lot. Purged something shocking. And yeah, I couldn't walk. So I started doing root chakra meditation. So I'd listened to I just deep dived in online, deep dived. And I found all of this information on the chakra system. I'd studied it loosely before, but I went down a lot of rabbit holes. I went in, down, which I kind of always have done that. I've been obsessed with learning my whole life. I was high distinctions in everything at school. I just loved learning, which is funny because I've been diagnosed with 2+ learning disability. So we're going to talk more about that later. Not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. Stick to where we are. So, first Andy, so much pain, but it was also such a magical experience. My youngest, oh my gosh, I was able to catch her in my arm and do it my way, which was so great. Um, did a lot of training for that, breath work and everything. So root chakra meditations, I would sit outside for at least half an hour, if not an hour, once, if not twice or 3 times a day. And I was just deeply connecting with the earth, deeply connecting with myself and and I was eating all red foods like capsicum, tomato, like meat, anything that was red, I was eating it. Um, Strawberries. After about 2 months, the pain was way dissipating. My inflammation was way dissipating, and I could walk, and then eventually I could run. And it just showed me that we have this incredible ability to heal ourselves, such an incredible ability to heal ourselves. So that's what then took me on the trajectory into energy work. And at the same time, I just started my company From the Clouds Creative, which I still run today. I'd left corporate because just, it was just a very toxic way of working. It just wasn't working for me. And I realized that I had to create my own thing in order to ground every couple of hours, take a break when I needed to, work when I wanted to, meditate, have freedom, sovereignty. And we are all able to do this, whether we are working for someone who understands sovereignty and balance, or whether we create something ourselves. So this is something that is the birthright of every single being on this planet. So From the Clouds Creative was born also. And well, that was after leaving corporate as the breadwinner. Came home to my husband, who was home with the girls. I couldn't stay at home because at the time I was struggling so much with my mental health and postnatal depression that I couldn't stay home. So the choice was me going back to work. I had to. But anyway, I came home and I said, this was while living in the city. We used to travel to the city, basically 3 hours a day in the car. And we did this for, I think, 5 years or so. I used to prep all the food on a Sunday in order to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner prepared, ready to go. Jeez. Wow. I couldn't imagine doing that now. I just like, nah, I'm out. Cannot do that now. So, yeah, we did that. We did a lot of travel. And fast forward to when I quit corporate, I just came home and I said, I'm quitting tomorrow. I was pregnant with Andy at the time, with the youngest. I said, I'm quitting tomorrow. We're starting the company and we're selling the house and moving back to the peninsula where we had been prior. And my husband is such an incredible soul. He's my anchor. He literally has kept me here on this planet. He's kept me going in everything that I've done. I am so grateful to have found him again in this lifetime. I know that we've had lifetimes together before, for sure, like such a deep soul connection. Anyway, he looked to me and he was like, okay. But it was just I had such clarity, and I just went bang, made the decision. So I quit the next day. Jesus. And I was like, before we give birth, we have to sell this house. But then we renovated the house, sold it, moved back. COVID hit, lockdown. So many things happened for so many people on the planet at that time. I think it was early 2020, was it? Or 2019? I can't remember. So then Layla was 2 and she's incredible. But she has kind of two modes, like volcano or unicorn. And at the time when she was 2, it was full on. There was so much going on in the household. We were trying to run a company, start and run a company, right? Jesus, work with freelancers, but through Zoom. We were getting work in. I was sort of still struggling mentally, but trying to balance work, breastfeed with a newborn. I went back to work 2 days after she was born. Like so much. I just kept pushing, but I realized I was pushing too hard to burn out constantly. And now things have completely changed in my life and our life. So I eventually, through my psychologist, which I had been seeing for at least 5, 6, 7 years, I got a diagnosis of ADHD, which I have essentially transcended now in the sense that labels, I think, are incredible to understand something as a framework. But once you do understand that and you've gotten sense of that, it's important to let that dissipate in order for the next thing to arrive. I truly feel and believe that. So I was also diagnosed with autism, so on the spectrum, which completely made sense. I'm so super sensitive in all regards, which I think as sensitive beings and empaths, so much of us are so completely overwhelmed by our emotions. I came to understand that this is a gift. It is a true gift that we have to give to ourselves and to this planet. So I made the decision to trial medication. I had to because there was so much going on in my mind. I started trials in stimulant medication. Now, this is a choice for everybody, and I don't have any polarized opinion on anything because I know that every single human being is completely different, had completely different experiences, and has a completely different biological and physical makeup of their body and their mind, everything they've been through. Every single being on the planet has a different perspective. So every single person needs their own curated method for unraveling and bringing themselves into coherence, into full healing, into their fully embodied state. So for me, choosing medication at the time was necessary, and I would do it again. Absolutely. Even trialing the stimulants for about a year on and off. And I had multiple times that I was basically suicidal because I was telling myself that no, 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 this is working, this is working. But it really wasn't. I really wasn't connecting with how I really was feeling. And I've had many, many, many times where I went through just total disassociation of my body. I would just leave my body. I ended up being on, I love keeping this because it's a great reminder. I keep it here. I ended up on a non-stimulant medication, amoxetine, I think it was, which was so amazing for me. Anybody who's thinking about medication, I suggest to talk to a medical practitioner, talk to your doctor, find a second or third opinion if you feel that you need it. I really do suggest that. Don't just go off one person, talk to an array of different people. So, yeah, the atomoxetine, I ended up being on that and another 1 or 2 medications. I ended up being on 9 tablets a day for a good few years, which was so helpful for me to kind of bring in the highs and the lows and kind of stabilize my energy field because it was fucking chaos. So the medication for me was amazing. It took a while to get adjust, definitely, and I can talk about all that in a different video. If you're watching this, please comment. I want to hear from you. I want to see what if this resonates with you. If you have any questions, if there's something else you want me to speak about and speak to. Yeah. So the medication really helped me a lot. And then a year or so ago in 2020 after so much healing work, such a healing journey, such a period of deep inner work, I came across the embodied I Ching. And with the embodied I Ching, I did the 4-week certificate, which was just deep, profound healing work through movement and inner work, inner journaling work as well. So that shifted so much in my being. And it's essentially somatic movement. And I realized that the body, human body, really is a tuning fork for the soul. So our body tells us what's going on, what's about. And for me, that shifted so much, so much. It made me realize that I was able to physically move the energy through and around my being. I had made a decision to reduce my meds, which I did. And over the space of maybe 6 months, I went from 9 tablets a day to zero. This wasn't just through the embodied itching. This was a long process of nutrition. So focused on nutrition, I am and was. I now am fully gluten-free, lactose-free. I'm meat-free now. I do eat some seafood sometimes. I am preservative-free, whole foods, leafy greens. I grow my own kale. I love kale. Oh, I love it. Organic eggs as well. I do eat eggs. So I don't know what that is. Is that pescatarian? I don't know. I don't know. It's just what works for me. And I essentially I eat a lot of like seeds like flaxseed, got good omega-3s, all that sort of stuff. So I deep dived into nutrition as well, which I found helped. So it's been a long healing journey and a lot of things have happened. And this hasn't covered all of it, but I just felt really cool to finally do that fucking video. So here it is, no script. Please tell me what you think. Please tell me your thoughts. Please tell me what you want to hear. I'm showing up and I'm here to serve and I'm here to offer my story and my journey and let you know that, you know what, you are not alone. You are not alone. I felt alone. I feel alone, to be fair, still. And it's time to connect and it's time to join spaces, even if it is digital spaces, and connect with others and share so that we can release any shame around how we feel or anything that we've been through and know that there are people on the planet, there are people here who genuinely want to connect and genuinely want to support you. So I'll chuck all the links down below and leave me a comment, hit the like button. What else? Subscribe, all the things. And I'm pumped to get back here and do another video. Stay magical.